Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the sports side. Champions Trophy is all about to start in few days, and we will be doing some teams reviews by inviting their representatives, their fans. And today we are joined with Karthik Raj. Most probably you know him on Twitter. A huge cricket fan, especially a huge Afghanistan cricket fan. We all loved his analysis on Afghanistan team and overall cricket. So welcome to the show, Karthik. How are you?
Thank you, Abdul. Hope you guys are also fine. I'm looking forward to this discussion here.
Thank you. We are also joined by our co-host Zaid Babar Khan. Zaid, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for inviting again.
He's our co-host, so we don't need to invite you. So Karthik, let's start. We are here to talk about Afghanistan team for the upcoming Champions Trophy. If we talk about Afghanistan's previous performances, especially in white ball, they have impressed a lot. Like we say that T20 and ODI are different formats, but if we talk about white ball, Afghanistan played semi-final recently of T20 World Cup. So if you talk about Afghanistan's campaign for this Champions Trophy, what's your thoughts on it?
Start of those who have been following on Twitter know that I actually feel the Afghanistan ODI team is better than the Afghanistan T20 team. Some might feel that might not be the case, but having seen them over the last 12 to 18 months or even more than that, there's just a lot more stability in the Afghanistan ODI side, I feel. Because since 2022, if you look at the makeup of the Afghanistan squad, it's been very settled. There have been very, very few changes in these last 3 years. So I'm just pretty confident about the Afghanistan's chances and the Champions Trophy. I mean, in 2023 also, people would have watched how Afghanistan fared in the World Cup. They were pretty close to actually qualifying for the semi-finals. They had a chance at one point, especially against Australia, It didn't go Afghanistan's way, but since then they've been pretty consistent in bilateral matches. They beaten Bangladesh and Sharjah and also South Africa. They beat them too. So in terms of form, they are coming into the Champions Trophy on a pretty good note. So my expectation, first expectation will be to get out of the group. From there on, anything can happen.
Okay, so I hope your prediction comes true, firstly, and secondly, let's go player by player now. So, what do you think? The opening pair of Afghanistan is quite, settled, has been settled for a lot of time, but Ibrahim Zadran recently got injured and didn't play a couple of series. So, how big do you think this will have an impact on Afghanistan's opening pair that Ibrahim is coming back directly from an injury break?
Could have an impact. I think we'll have to wait and watch how that goes. He injured his ankle while preparing for the test match against New Zealand in August, and due to that, he had to miss out on 4 months of cricket. He had an ankle surgery during that point of time, and he missed the matches against Bangladesh, South Africa, and then Zimbabwe as well. He's recently made his comeback in the BPL and also played a few matches in the ILT T20. Didn't really fare well in those matches, but again, that's not his go-to format. You can say he's been at his best in the ODI format. So that's one point of view. But again, as you said, he's been out of cricket for a long time now. So there'll be a bit of rustiness in his game. One would have to just hope that the two warm games that Afghanistan are set to play ahead of the Champions Trophy, that can just get him back into the flow of things so that Afghanistan's opening pair is back together because again they're a big piece of puzzle for Afghanistan. They're very key to the team's chances. Um, the team's success has been based on their big partnerships over the last 2 3 years. So it's very important that Rahmanullah Gurbaz and Ibrahim Sadran fire as a pair in the Champions Trophy.
Do you see maybe Sadiqul Atal coming in for Ibrahim if he doesn't click? in one of the games?
Um, it might happen. I think knowing Afghanistan cricket, anything can happen, but I wouldn't go that way because Ibrahim Zadran has a good body of work now. He's played a lot of matches. He averages around 48 in ODIs, which is mm, great for an Afghan batter. Just going by experience in class, I think I'll just continue with Ibrahim Zadran. If at all Siddiqullah Atal has a chance to come into the squad, I think it might be at number 6 or maybe like that is the open spot for in the Afghanistan 11 actually, because at number 3 we'll have the vice captain Rahmat Shah, 4 it will be the captain Ashmatullah Shairi, and then at 5 Azmatullah Omarzai will be there. It's been number 6 which has been like uh, musical chat kind of situation for Afghanistan because they've tried the likes of Ikram Ali Kill, who's actually taken the gloves instead of Gurbaz sometimes, and the all-round option of Gulbuddin Naib has also been tried. Both have not had a lot of success, but again, if as I said, if Afghanistan want to include Siddiq Ulatul, it has to be at that spot. It doesn't really need to be like factored. He needs to bat at number 6. The batting order can be flexible if the openers give a good start, then you can just promote Siddiq Ulatul, Omarzai, which has happened in the past as well. It's not something new for Afghanistan. Whenever Afghanistan have had a big opening partnership, the likes of Rehman and Ashmatullah Shahidi are actually not batted. Omarzai, Nabi, and the other big hitters have been promoted up the order. So that can be an example to follow here. So again, I wouldn't really displace the opening combo at this point of time. Siddiq did play well against Zimbabwe in December. He got a century and also a 50 against them. So he definitely has potential, but it would have to be outside the opening combo.
Mic mute.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, you just talk about how balanced the top order is for Afghanistan cricket team. But if we are going player by player, we just talk about Najibullah Zadran and Siddiqullah Atal. Just here to talk about Rahmanullah Gurbaz. Like if we talk about his form, like if we talk about Afghanistan's batting order, uh, if we talk about Rahmanullah Gurbaz and Afghanistan's batting, by having Rahmanullah in their 11, their batting has been changed. Like you can say, Rahmanullah has a big impact on Afghanistan's batting order. Like he played in 2023 World Cup, and if we see his past performances recently, I guess in the last series he performed well. So if you talk up specifically, if your thoughts on Rahmanullah Gurbaz.
It's definitely a match winner in the ODI format. Again, just like I told about Afghanistan as a side at the start of the show, Rahmanullah Gurbaz is actually a better ODI cricketer than a T20 cricketer too. Like he knows how to construct an ODI innings better than what he does in T20s. So that's more natural for him. And whenever Gurbaz fires, obviously Afghanistan have a very good chance of winning because he scores his runs at a very good rate. So Afghanistan will more or less score more than 280 or around 300. So with the bowling attack they have, then they can easily defend it. So he has a big role to play, obviously. Even in the World Cup, he had a couple of great knocks. He wasn't really consistent in the tournament, but when he scored 50s against England and Pakistan, Afghanistan went on to win. That's the impact that he has. And if he does get starts, then he definitely converts the scores into big hundreds. I mean, already he holds the record for most centuries for Afghanistan on ODIs. So that shows his love for big scores. And a lot of people have questioned his ability to chase because there's a massive gap between his averages while batting first and chasing. But I think recently there's been some improvement in that regard also against Bangladesh, the series decided it was a pretty tricky chase when Gurbaz and Omarzai played in a very mature manner to take Afghanistan over the line. So I think as an overall ODI cricketer, he's been improving game by game. So he's definitely a match winner for Afghanistan at the top of the order.
So like after the top order, if we come down to like Rahmat Shah and Hashmatullah Shahidin, like there has been a lot of debate on their roles. Like I know Hashmatullah is considered like a great captain, but as a batter, don't you think like mm, there needs to be a more aggressive or attacking approach towards the batting?
I will just add one thing that Zaid talks about captaincy. Like, don't you think that Hashmatullah Shaidi is just playing because he's a captain? And like Afghanistan has many other options as well. Like they have Rashid in the squad, they have Nabi in the squad. Like if we talk about Rahmanullah Gurbaz can be the upcoming captain as well. So don't you think that Hashmatullah Shaidi is just playing as a captain?
It can be a possible argument, but again, he has wins on his back. He's good success on his back. A lot of series wins on his back. I'm not a big fan of Hashmatullah Shahidi as the batter in ODI cricket, but that's how it is. I mean, once people have a good amount of captaincy experience, then it's very difficult to displace them, especially in subcontinental countries. I mean, it takes a lot of time for you to move there. Both Ramach and Ashmatullah Shahidi, their scoring rate has been
Yeah.
around 70 for a long time. Shrikant. Uh, Talking about, continuing about Ramach and Ashmatullah Shahidi, it's not like they've been just struggling off late. They've been around the scene for around 10 years. And there's not been a great deal of improvement in the strike. So to expect it at this point of time, I don't think it's possible. And I don't think that, there'll be a change even for the 2027 World Cup, let alone this upcoming Champions Trophy. So Afghanistan somehow have to manage around them. The others have to step up to make up for their low scoring rate. And that's all that can be done.
Yeah. Like
Like talking about, I think making up for the scoring rate in the middle order. Like I think the probably the most underrated player in Afghanistan's lineup is Azmatullah Omarzai. You mentioned that innings of him against Bangladesh. I think that was a great innings, and even before that, I think he had a very like crucial all-round role in the ODI World Cup last year, the 2023 ODI World Cup. So, what do you think about his role?
Obviously, I think what Gurbaz is as an opener, I think that, it's pretty much the same role for Azmatullah Omarzai in the middle order. He has to come up with that acceleration in the middle overs. Because as we have already discussed, you're not really going to get that from Rahmat and Ashmatullah Shahidi. So Azmatullah Omarzai is not just a big hitter. I think is a much more versatile than that too. I can say, uh, because at the start of his innings, he looks to take his time, rotate the strike, and once he settles in, he then opts to go for the big shot. So he can be flexible in that regard. And what's been amazing is the kind of consistency he's displayed for the last 12 to 18 months. That's been very impressive. With the ball, I think it's still a work in progress, both for Afghanistan and for himself as well. I think because they're pretty hesitant to use Omarzai as an opening option, especially due to the conditions in Sharjah. They played a couple of series, as we mentioned, like against South Africa and Bangladesh. So they opted to go with a spin-heavy attack, and most often it was Allah Ghasanfar who started with a new ball along with Fazallah Farooqi. So Omarzai was probably a fifth or sixth bowling option. It's not really his strength, but he still did a decent job. I think he got 18 wickets in 2024 at a economy around 5. So not a bad job, but again, he could be more useful as a new ball option, given his ability to swing the ball both ways. And again, as I said, mentioned, I think he needs to improve his bowling as well, because even when he takes a new ball, he kind of tends to be a bit short in terms of his length, bowls back of length, which is very unusual for a swing bowler. So there are areas that they can work on. I mean, even Ashraf Bowley tweeted about him recently after he got that ODI Player of the Year award. that he has many more peaks to climb. So he definitely has a big future ahead of him.
Yeah, Karthik, I have a question over like if we talk about Afghanistan's batting lineup, don't you think there's a missing position like empty position at number six? Like if we talk about top order, we Afghanistan have Ibrahim, Rahmanullah, and then Hashmatullah Shahidi and Rahmat Shah. But these are the top four. And if you play Azmat at number five, so who do you play at number six? Like Gulbuddin Naib or Muhammad Nabi?
Uh, Again, a few minutes ago, we talked about how Siddiqullah might be an option. In my view, might not happen, but I have Siddiq as an option for that role. It's more or less, I think, based on the entry point. When what's the over that is at the point when he comes in, instead of actually a fixated batting position. So apart from Siddiq, Gulbuddin has been tried, yeah, I think, but it's been a long time. I think he's been playing for around 15 years. He's viewed as a finisher, but in ODI cricket, he's not really been able to produce returns. So there are doubts. I think because Gulbadin has been in good form in the IL T20, so I think that might work in his favor. So he could start in the 11, given his ability to pitch in with a few overs as well. And I think another thing that might play in his part might be the fact that he bowled really well in the Asia Cup last year, in 2023, which took place in Pakistan. Actually, the entire Afghanistan attack didn't have a good time. Even Rashid Khan, Mohammad Nabi and co went for a lot of runs, but it was Gulbuddin who took 6 wickets in 2 matches in the Asia Cup. So they might have that in the back of the mind while selecting him. Nabi, I think, will be at number 7 only, I guess, because it's suited him for a long time again. And more importantly, he's been in good form as well. For around 2 or 3 years, there are a lot of question marks regarding his batting form, but somehow at the age of 40, he's been able to produce a last wind of sorts. Uh, had some very crucial knocks against South Africa and Bangladesh. So I think he will be pretty important lower on the order.
Yeah, exactly. And on a lighter note, Gulbuddin Naib is also an impactful Afghanistan fielder on the field. So you can play Gulbuddin Naib on that role as well. So just moving forward, I want to talk about Rashid Khan, like the great player of Afghanistan cricket at the moment. And if we talk about his recent match performances, he played well over there. So if we say that he's the best all format player, there will be not any denial. So what's your thoughts on Rashid Khan, and what do you think that uh, what role he can play, not just as a player, but just as a team man for Afghanistan cricket in this champion trophy?
Obviously, I think until he retires, he will be Afghanistan's MVP. He'll be hogging the limelight until he plays. So there's never a question about that. And in ODI cricket, I think has been very, very good in that format specifically. Got a fiver against South Africa and did well against Bangladesh as well. And if we take our minds back to the 2023 World Cup, I think he had an underrated World Cup campaign, I feel. He bowled really well in a lot of games, but his wicket tally won't show that. Against New Zealand, for example, the fielders dropped around 3 or 4 catches. And even in the last league game against South Africa, he bowled a very good spell, which just dragged the game. So there's not just been the lower tier teams which he has been performing against, which can was a criticism labeled against him for a long time. But I think he's shown his quality and caliber against even the best of teams in the last few ICC events. So again, the bowling attack will be centered around him. Another thing I think Afghanistan have tended to go with one specialist seamer on a lot of occasions. It is only because of the presence of Rashid Khan, because Rashid Khan is a rare spinner who can bowl in the final 10 overs. So they kind of tend to hold his overs back for the end overs, and that gives the luxury to the captain, Afghanistan captain, to bring him pretty late on in their innings. So generally he comes into the attack around the 18th or 20th over. Um, if not for Rashid Khan, that won't be possible again. You will have to change around a lot of your bowling options. So he gives a lot of luxury, obviously. So I think again, we've discussed his bowling. It's very, very crucial with the bat also. And there might be situations when the team might need 20, 25 runs at the back end of the innings. And with the field is just a live wire. I think he just energizes the entire team with his efforts in the field. So as an all-round package, it's going to be pretty key as usual. It's not a one-off thing or a recent phenomena. It's just how it has been for a long time.
Yeah, like so I think like anyone would have Rashid penned down in their team, and with the recent form I think Allah Mohammad Anfar will play most games too. So like what would be the composition of your bowling attack? Like I think you would have like Faruqi, Rashid Khan and Allah Mohammad Anfar will most definitely play, right?
Yeah, I think again, mostly settled, I think. The only question mark will be around whether they opt to play a second seamer. So in the squad, there are totally three seamers, including Faruqi, and then apart from him, it's Naveed Zadran and then Farid Malik. So it'll be interesting to see if they opt to play an extra seamer, or maybe they could go with the option of an extra spinner in Muhammad also. Again, both have been in pretty good form. Gasan for a slightly less, again, it's T20 format, but he's been benched in the IL T20 while Noor Ahmed had a fantastic SA20 campaign. So again, it'll be interesting to see if T20 form influences the playing 11. But if we just stick to ODI cricket, I think Gasan for obviously played a massive role in the last few series for Afghanistan. He bamboozled South Africa as well on those helpful Sharjah tracks. So I think also how the pitches might behave, I think it will play a key role in the composition of the bowling attack. Um, I think you guys can shed better light on that. In terms, I think usually I have seen that Karachi tends to favor spinners a little bit. So
Yeah.
they Afghanistan play South Africa at Karachi, and then the other two games against England and Australia at Lahore. So the composition might change according to the pitch.
Yeah, but on the pitch, I would
Yeah, I think
say
like
one thing
Lahore
that
has
the both squares are fresh, the stadiums are renovated, so the Tri Series will be the lookout series for every team for which participating in the Champions Trophy.
yeah, plus traditionally I think Lahore is more of a like flat track.
Yeah,
Like there is 350 have been chased here. And similarly, Pindi is like also a flat track, but Karachi I think is like more on the slow side. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
think
like
that will influence the bowling attack. Maybe they could opt for an extra seamer in Farid Malik at Lahore and then an extra spinner at Karachi. That's how they might
yeah.
form.
Like if you talk about like the fast bowlers, Faruqi is more like known as a T20. Like in T20s, he's great, and that is majorly because of his new ball skills. In ODI, however, do you think like he's like maybe lesser than the Faruqi, the T20 bowler, due to like bowling more with the old ball and stuff?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a fair view. I think at the start of his ODI career, he actually put in decent performances in few parallel matches, but off late, especially in the last 12 to 18 months, his wicket-taking rate has gone down actually a lot. And if you look at his economy rate, also it's been hovering around 6 runs per over. Which again, if you go to Pakistan and play at Lahore, it's going to be a tough ask for Afghanistan if Fazlullah Farooqi doesn't step up. And even if in the 2023 ODI World Cup, Naveenullah had actually just returned for the World Cup in particular. He hadn't actually played any game before the World Cup, but the team management actually preferred Naveenullah to start ahead of Farooqi in a lot of matches, which kind of shows how much confidence they have in him. So it's definitely, I think, a problematic area for Afghanistan. And again, I think for me, it's a massive area of concern because they didn't really prepare for the scenario, even though they had time. If you look at the number of ODIs played between the last World Cup and the Champions Trophy, Afghanistan actually played more than the other teams, other participating teams. They played around 14 games. But again, with Sharjah also favoring spin, they kind of went spin heavy, meaning that Naveen Zadran and Farid Malik didn't really get their fair share of chances to stake their claim. So they'll be pretty raw, and there might be a lot of pressure on them to perform. So it's a tough spot to put them in. I think it'll be just a problematic area for sure. I think again the warm games might be key in that regard. Whoever performs might just get ahead of the other person.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
okay.
like
So
how big do you think like this all ha basically due to Naveenullah's retirement, how big do you think that was the reason that Afghanistan didn't have, like a proper second seamer developed in time for the Champions Trophy?
I don't think that has any relation. I think it's more due to the conditions again in Sharjah because it's a primary home ground for them now, and it's pretty difficult to like change conditions at short notice. So they went with spin tracks, and they had no other option to just play according to the conditions, which they did. And also again even in against Zimbabwe, where you could have played more seamers, they opted to play with spinners. So it was kind of disappointing, I think, and lacking really long-term vision, I would say, because they had not just Naveed Zadran and Farid Malik, but they picked Bilal Sami in a lot of series also, but he didn't really get any chance to make his claim again. He played just one ODI against Zimbabwe. Otherwise, there's not been a lot of pace bowling options in the squad. This this in spite of being the fact that a lot of Afghan seamers have impressed in the A tours or back in Afghanistan in domestic cricket. So just a lack of trust. I think that the paces are not really being trusted. Like for example, in Bangladesh, there's just a lot of talk about how leg spinners aren't trusted because coaches in domestic cricket feel that they're expensive and they could just manage with left arm spinners. It's pretty much the same case in Afghanistan also that they feel that spinners will get the job done. So why to really take the effort to develop paces? I think, but again, when you come out of conditions like Sharjah, I think we'll have to have a versatile attack, which I don't think they entirely have. It's going to be a lot of work on Rashid and the other spinner's shoulder again, which is really ideal for the team.
yeah. So moving forward, if we talk about the opposition in Champions Trophy, Afghanistan has to face South Africa, England, and Australia. South Africa at Karachi, and rest of them at Lahore. So, Agar, if we talk about the oppositions, so how do you rate the opposition, and what's your prediction or your analysis that how Afghanistan can beat them or can give at least a tough time? Because in my book, Afghanistan is qualifying for top four.
Yeah, again, all three are excellent sides. I don't need to mention that. But I think there are certain chinks in their armor that Afghanistan could exploit. If we have talked about that already, that Afghanistan played South Africa in a recent bilateral series in Sharjah, so they'll have some familiarity with the opposition. Again, they played them in spin-friendly conditions, which again might be the case in Karachi as well. So I think the South African batters might have kind of a headache because they would know that these Afghan spinners had the wood over them not too long ago, so they might have that in the back of their mind. So I think for me, that's the most winnable game for Afghanistan in the group. I'm hoping for a win against England too, so that they qualify. I think the case against England is the fact that they don't really play a lot of ODI cricket, and they have had a lot of changes in their lineup. A lot of players have been rested because their team management has tended to prefer them to rest ahead of important test matches. So that's been the case. And again, it's been a long discussion that they don't really have domestic 50 over cricket because it pretty much clashes with the 100. So whoever comes into the squad, they pretty much come in with very little 50-over cricket on their back. So they kind of have that headache. A lot of England batters have struggled with innings construction. So they tend to play 50-over cricket to like T20 cricket. They tend to be over aggressive, which can work in T20 cricket, but given the 50-over format, I think it's a long time. So you have enough time to settle down and then accelerate, which isn't the case with England. Like you could probably point out the fact that the 2019 England team succeeded with their own aggressive formula, but I think they were still a lot more versatile, I feel, and then they had a lot of experience as well. The likes of Roy, Bairstow, they had played a lot of ODI cricket coming into that World Cup, which is not the case with England. And just overall seeing England's record in recent ICC events, it's not been great. The last World Cup also they had a forgettable campaign in India in the ODI format. So I don't think they have exactly nailed the ODI format. So that is again a chance for Afghanistan. Finally, it's Australia. I think Australia will probably be a step too ahead for Afghanistan. I think especially in Lahore, given the kind of batters they have, like Travis said, if they bat first, I think it could easily be 350 or 400
Glenn Maxwell.
conditions. Yeah, obviously, I think he's also there. So I think that might be a difficult game for Afghanistan, but they'll have to win the other two if they want to have any chance of getting out of the group. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If I just talk about myself, why I'm predicting that Afghanistan will be in top four. Like if we look at the Afghanistan team, ODI team, and if we look at the Pakistan team in 2017, that they have every resources. Everyone is in form. Like everyone is gelling. So they have the potential to if you look at the opposition, South Africa, they are suffering from injuries, so it will be something in their in their head. So maybe there is a strong chance that Afghanistan can beat South Africa. And if we talk about England, as you mentioned, that they are not playing ODI cricket much, and if we talk about their T20I performances in India recently, so yeah, there's a chance for Afghanistan playing top four. And if they reached and meet Pakistan in top four, so there will be a battle and there will be a pressure on Pakistan side, because in the last ODI they meet, Afghanistan defeated them. So there's a tough chances, and if India meets them, so India versus Afghanistan semi-final, who knows? So because they have to play at Dubai, and Afghanistan's, it's like before it was Pakistan's home, now it's Afghanistan's home. So Afghanistan can play final of Champions Trophy as well. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't want to look too far ahead at this moment. I think getting out of the group will be a good step for Afghanistan. I think I just want like even the main reason for that is the fact that I just want them to build on their performances in the last two ICC events. I think getting out of the group will be just showing how consistent they have become. That's what I want from the team. I think again, Pakistan or India, I think will be whatever happens on the day. I think so far Afghanistan have not defeated India in any format, so that's a big obstacle in its own. And Pakistan, obviously, the game it has pressure on both sides for various other reasons. I mean, so there will be a lot of pressure on when it comes to a knockout fixture. So anything can happen. I think in the team that holds their nerves, which is a cliche term, but again, nerves will play a big part in knockout. So I don't know what to predict there. I think again, not having an expectation, which is easier for the heart. I think even if they don't really succeed, I think it is easier to take. So why to build pressure on yourself?
Yeah, yeah, all right, fair. Last thing I want to ask from you is Afghanistan to play Australia and England both in the group stage matches. But there's a stance from their respective boards that they don't want to play Afghanistan. Because Afghanistan do not have any women team, like official women team, because of the politics, etc. I don't want to deep dive in it. But what's your thoughts on this? Like, if we talk about Pakistan and India, there's the same issue that they do not want to play bilateral series, but if it's an ICC tournament, they will play. So, what's your thoughts on on Australia and England? Because if they have if they want to boycott Afghanistan, so why they are playing in the ICC event?
The respective boards have actually come out and said that they will go ahead with the matches. So that's not a problem again, but there are various issues to discuss on this subject. I think um, at one point, I think if you look at it from one point of view, there is a good thought from the respective boards, ECB and CA, in terms of that they want to showcase women. But again, you can do that by playing in the matches also, playing in matches also. I think you can bring up those issues during the matches instead of boycotting. I think that I don't think serves any purpose. I think if they boycott the matches, one, Afghanistan get 3 points, and then two, it's not really going to make any difference in the long run, is it? Because Taliban are not going to care about it. I mean, you boycott or don't boycott, for them, their stance, which I don't agree, and probably 99.9% don't agree rightfully, but they're not going to change their stance because of us. Yeah, I think it's a long fight. I think it's going to be a long vigil. I think people have to take constructive steps. For me, boycott is not a constructive step in that view. I think again, playing matches, highlighting women's struggles during those matches. I think that is a far better way. It's going to take a lot of time, probably 5, 10 years, which is a very sad thing because people's futures, people's lives are being lost as we speak. But I think actually we have to choose the better path, and I think taking constructive steps is the better way out of this. I think.
Okay, thank you very much, Karthik, for joining. We almost cover everything of Afghanistan cricket. Just last thing I want to ask you personally. Why do you support Afghanistan cricket as an Indian? Like you have faced this question before as well.
Yeah, I think definitely I've faced these questions. It initially just started as a hobby. I mean, I used to support associate cricket nations also. So I just had this feeling of enjoying a win from emerging nations. I mean, given their struggles and their uprisings, I think. So it started as that. I used to watch them in their initial World Cups as well. 2010 was their debut World Cup. I was not exactly a fan at that point. I mean, even during 2014, in the Asia Cup, they beat Bangladesh. It was not even at that point of time, but again, it was a bit later on in 2016, 2017, and I think, started to follow their domestic cricket. I kind of felt that the national team, the senior team, is not really reflecting the kind of talent that there is in Afghanistan. There is a lot of politics, a lot of deserving players were not getting their chances. So I just had this thought process that, I mean, imagine if the most deserving players get their chances, how good it will be, how good Afghanistan will perform. Yeah, and those problems existed till 2019. There were a lot of clashes within the team itself. They went winless in the 2019 World Cup. But as time passed, I think those issues slightly went away, and that naturally resulted in better performances in the last two World Cups. So I think it's long story. I just think Afghanistan is just an endless pipeline of talent. I think you will see. I think even in the next few years, there's a lot of talent coming up. They didn't really perform well in the last under 19 World Cup, but again, those issues of the deserving players not getting picked, those still exist at the ground level. Um, and the process that was followed for the last under 19 team was also pretty messy because they just had an open trial, calling out thousands of youngsters, which just didn't work for them. So there are areas to work on, but I just feel that Afghanistan will continue to produce a lot of talent, and they're just going to climb. Hopefully, I think unless something bad happens to them.
Yeah, fair. And thank you very much for joining, Karthik. And hope to see you soon during the Champions Trophy, maybe in the knockouts or maybe after winning the final or before winning the final. So, thank you very much for joining. And thank you, everyone, those tune in and watch this review. And go follow Karthik on Twitter. You will find him as Karthik. And do follow Sportside on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And do visit our website, thesportside.com. See you soon. And till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.